folks. Welcome back. Another edition of Boozing with Jude. It's good to have you with me. Today, it's Memorial Day. Memorial Day is celebrated in the United States. It's the last Monday of May. And most of us think of it as the start to summer, barbecue season. It's a 3-day holiday for most employees, except, people who work in liquor stores, because it's a big deal to drink. But for federal workers, for folks like myself, it's a 3-day holiday. But it has more meaning than that. Memorial Day is a very important day, and sometimes in the midst of our barbecues and beer, we forget. We should never forget. It is a day that it started as Decoration Day, and so it was an opportunity to remember our dead. And it saw the establishment of like federal, military cemeteries like Arlington. And so this is what we do on Memorial Day. We remember those men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. It's not a political thing. Obviously everyone wants peace, but our soldiers have fought in many wars. And after the Civil War, the Great War, World War I was one we became embroiled in. World War II, obviously, where a lot of our men and women didn't come home and are in cemeteries around the world. Mainly, I'm thinking of Normandy in France. I have 3 brothers and a father who all served in uniform. And fortunately, my father obviously came back from World War II, or I wouldn't be here talking about booze. And my brothers as well. And while I'm grateful for their service, I'm more grateful that, I don't have to think of them particularly on this day. I do, obviously, I'm grateful for their service, but this is a day to remember those who paid that ultimate sacrifice. And there's a show on every year, public broadcasting puts on with Gary Sinise and Ray Montagna. Did I say that right? Montagna? I don't know. Cool guy. And it is to celebrate Memorial Day and to remember those people. It's very poignant. And at the end of the show last night, the Joint Chiefs of Staff had a tribute to all of the various armed services. And he said, General Milley, I think it is his name, the head of the Joint Chiefs, he said, for those who have lost someone, every day is Memorial Day. And you're like, yeah. And to them, this is the most important holiday day of the year. Yeah. And like for the rest of it is barbecues and brats and beer. So I'm going to make a drink that I would never drink. I mean, quite frankly, I don't do shots unless it's, slowly sipping it. But this is going to be a red, white, and blue shot. And in commemoration of all of those great people who gave their lives. And what struck me last night, I was with my friends and I was, they mentioned it, and we were just like, can you believe? Because they commemorated those people who lost their lives September 11th. That's been 20 years. And while we don't consider our firefighters and our policemen so much as, United States Armed Forces, they're not part of the military. In a sense, they were some of the first non-civilians to lose their lives in this horrible war on terror, which is a war that, we don't know who we're fighting, right? When everybody was running away from the Twin Towers, they were running towards it to try to save people. And many of them ended up being buried underneath that rubble. So they commemorated them as well, and I think that's fitting, and I think that's just. They were soldiers who lost their lives in a war on terror on our soil. So enough of that. It's very sad, but you know what? We can commemorate them in a very happy way. Okay, would I ever drink this drink normally? No. And I'm not really good at layering shots, but I'm going to show you how to layer. And you can make this as like a beverage. You can put like not just a shot, you can put it in a rocks glass. But quite frankly, I wouldn't want to drink that much of this. I like these ingredients, but together, people don't layer shots for the taste so much. So you got it, and it's all about like thickness and sugar and viscosity. And quite frankly, I don't do it really well. But if you want to like serve a red, white, and blue shot, I just want to make sure you can see it as I make it. I chilled my shot glass a bit. It's my Slovakia Košice shot glass because it's the only one that I have is kind of tall and not rounded. And if you have like a straight, those very straight, almost Collins-like little shot glasses, those would work the best. But I don't, because you know what? I This is just a little collector thing that I got because I love Slovakia so much. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is take our lovely grenadine. Now, would this work with your homemade grenadine with pomegranate and sugar? Probably, but I know for a fact this baby is going to sink to the bottom and it's going to stay there. And so I'm just going to use it. And basically I'm not measuring. We're trying to do 1/3, 1/3. You don't have to be as careful with the bottom shot, or the bottom layer, but there you go. So we just poured a lot of sugar in there. Okay. The second thing we're going to do is take which way do I want to go? I'm going to try the Misha gin. I'm going to do the gin second. No, I'm going to do the blue curacao second. Yeah, we'll do that and see if it layers on the top. You know, sometimes stuff just sinks. I'm not a bartender. Bartenders could do this stuff like that, but not me. So I'm pouring it over the back of a spoon, my bar spoon, because if you just pour it in there really hard, it's going to mix in, and red and blue is like purple. I mean, you'll have a pretty purple drink, but it won't be like red, white, and blue. So excuse me for being really meticulous here and very slow and probably spilling blue stuff everywhere. So we do have layers. Now, the blue curacao is blue, but you know, it's so dark, it almost looks black, you know? So what can I say? I tried lighter blue, like the Hypnotic, which is a French, you know, lovely light blue liqueur, but it didn't work. It didn't layer. It mixed in when I put, now I'm using gin. You know what? Use vodka. Some people use peach schnapps, and peach schnapps layer as well, but peach schnapps ends up being kind of yellowish. So it's kind of like red, white, and yellow. Sorry. So my Misha gin, my gin, I call it Misha gin because that's its name. It's from Grand Rapids, Michigan, Long Road Distillery. I keep this in the freezer, and I think it would help if your beverages are chilled beforehand, if you really want that layering effect, right? So here we go to try to be very careful and pour that over the top. Very careful. This is me just being just like clumsy, slow, not at all good at stuff like this. Please, please, please. And so it kind of layers. It's kind of sitting at the top, not very good. Now the picture you'll see on my site will show you one that's red, white, and blue. Because I tried it 4 or 5 times before I did this, and it's kind of mixed in, not as pretty, or not as much white on the top. So if I let it sit for a bit, it'll be better. And you know, I'm not going to make you sit here and let it settle. So there it is, the 4th of July. So that's what we could call it. What are we going to call it? The Memorial Day beer? I don't know. Uncle Sam. It's a red, white, and blue drink that, quite frankly, this stuff doesn't go together. And there it is. So ladies and gentlemen, my Memorial Day tribute to all of those who gave up their lives for our country, and some of you watching, you know, most countries have days where they commemorate their armed services and their military for giving up their lives for our freedom, for our country, and for us. And so when I was living in England, Armistice Day, which is November 11th, we call it Veterans Day here, and that day for us is to be grateful for all of our veterans. So we celebrate our veterans, both living and dead, right? And in England and in Britain, they wear a red poppy. And some of us do that today, actually. The red poppy comes from a poem called In Flanders Field, which was written Flanders in Belgium, right? So by a soldier. But, you know, other countries celebrate as well on different times and different days. So to those of us who have, you know, who know people who have given their lives, and even if we don't know them, to those soldiers, we say salute. And you know what? If you think I'm drinking this, go. I wouldn't make this for any armed forces person in the United States of America. But what I would do is go, no thanks. I'm sorry, I just can't drink it. Take some good old U.S. bourbon. Get rid of that. Ugh. I can't do a lot. It's morning, believe it or not. And say, here you go. Here's some good old American bourbon. That's what I would serve them. You guys, thanks for all you've done for us. Prayers, honor, glory, and remembrance to our armed forces who gave their lives for our freedom. Salute. Bottoms up. Boy, I'm so glad I didn't drink that other one. Ew! Why do you do that? See, it's a kind of a hideous purple color in there. You do it because, you know what? You're having your barbecue, you're having a party. You want to say, look, I can do a red, white, and blue drink. Okay, well, whatever. Let me just take a sip of this. Okay, no. So, guys, just a really quick Memorial Day one, and who knows what will happen next time. I just want to say, I do not endorse drinking shots. I don't do it. I think it's a bad idea, and particularly that combination. Now, by the way, I used gin. I dropped the top on the floor. That's why it doesn't have it. You can use vodka, tequila. Like I said, you know, peach schnapps layers well, but it's too yellow for me. And you just have to play around with what's going to float and what's not going to float, you know, because if it sinks down in, you're going to have just a really kind of interesting color. So that's it for today, guys. Happy Memorial Day, if there's such a thing. I mean, for those of us here in the country that aren't working and we're going to barbecues, it will be. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.